Premier League pool final, they meet again for a place in the last four of a World Championship that they've both won in the past. Jeremy, what are your thoughts?
Well, I kind of agree with, we're going to see a tight one. We're going to see
wins the leg.
What could be championship pool. Probably very limited mistakes along with multiple great shots. It all depends on the break, of course, getting shots after the break, but you know, Filler's had a lot of close matches, so that's going to bode well for him, where Albin hasn't played quite as many close matches. So we'll see. We'll see. The start always has a huge thing to do with it, but like Kelly said, even in the winter break format, it seems like these guys are going to take advantage of their opportunity, and we're going to have a thriller come down the end.
The first strike, Albin Ouschan to break.
Normally at this time, in the various sessions we've had here over the last few days, we hear a cacophony of sound, break-off shots being played all around the arena. Not so now, because only 2 tables left in operation, all of which only adds to the tension. Alex Kazakus there, getting things underway against Oliver Shalnoki on the other table, and we will, of course, keep you right up to date on that.
And it appears nothing offensive. Has some type of look at the 1. It doesn't appear the 2 is very playable, so I doubt, even if he has a bank on the 1 here, I doubt he goes offensive. Probably just clipping the 1 and trying to run the cue ball behind the 9 very mildly. And he's got to be happy with that.
What you were saying, Jeremy, about not expecting too many mistakes, I tend to agree with you, but one thing that should be said, there's so much personal and professional respect between these guys. And for both of them, beating the other is a huge achievement and a huge landmark. So when they met in the Premier League pool final, we did see a very unusual number of unexpected mistakes. So we should just bear that in mind.
Yeah, I think a little different format here. The Premier League, they played a ton of matches.
Extension, please.
You know, you don't ever want to say fatigue, especially with today's pool player. They're in such good shape, but also I know that at times, that the table they played on in the Premier Pool League was a bit difficult to really get comfortable with, right? These guys are a little more at home here on the diamond table, I think. So, and really, what has history shown us in the last few days by these 2? Not many mistakes, right? So I don't really expect much here. He's going to hopefully not scratch off the 2.
False stroke, ball in net.
And it's amazing. You could see him turn his head after making a beautiful shot, knowing that probably the cue ball was in jeopardy.
It was almost as if he didn't see it, it wasn't really happening.
Now, Filler had a couple wins early in the tournament where he got the lead and really kept control, but really the latter stages of this tournament, he's either trailed or been really neck and neck and had to come from behind or come with some shots to win some matches.
Yeah, he played brilliantly in the first round against Chris Melling, beat him 9-2. Comfortable enough in the end against Oscar Dominguez of the United States, 9-5. But as you say, JJ, hard going since then. Really struggled to shake off Mark Bijsterbosch. Only did so right at the end, 11-9. And looked the more likely loser for a lot of his match earlier today against Darren Appleton, the champion of 10 years ago. Eventually got through 11-10 to knock out the last remaining British player. Joshua Filler then, taking advantage of Albin Ouschan's scratch into the side pocket
Filler to break, leading 1-0.
Some of the older guys are looking at the younger players like Filler and Ouschan and seeing the wonderful living they're now able to make out of pool and thinking, I wish that had been around in my day, all this opportunity. But I'm still around and can grab a piece of it myself. And they're rededicating themselves. And as you say, Jeremy, it's shown in the results that so many of them have achieved here this week.
Yeah, by the shake of that head, you could see Filler not very happy that round 7 just got in the way of an offensive shot on the 1. Be nice if he can see the 1, though, rather than having to roll out, maybe. If he can see the 1, he can bank the 1 back towards the 9. It's a delicate shot coming 1 rail across behind the green 6. Well, it looks like maybe he's cueing downward. Oh, that is the shot he's playing, and it looked like the correct shot to me. Now the 1's going to come up a little bit, but still a pretty nice play. And that's such a touchy shot because on the slick table you could easily lose the cue ball in that corner pocket below the 6.
Extension, please.
I think he does have a look at this one to make it. I'm not sure that's what he's going to go for just because the position on the 2 is very difficult. So you may see him bank the 1 up towards the 2, trying to cross the cue ball over underneath the 9. Maybe the 1 goes more towards the pink. We'll see. Oh, he's going for the shot. And that was, to me, I thought a funny decision just because it was a tough shot, plus no guarantee on shape. So that's one thing a lot of times, unless you're forced, no other way possible, right? You usually want to go for the tough shots when you have some reward in mind. All right, trying to maybe get into the 3 with the cue ball here. Oh, nice hit. Now this 3 has gotten in a very peculiar spot. He's going to look at the 3-9 combo. Does the 9 go by the 6? I think it does. And he may play a 3-9 just because he doesn't really have much else unless he can get on the 3 by the 4 in the upper corner. What a great stroke that was. I remember seeing Filler for the first time. I believe it was 2007 with the 17 U.S. Open, the last U.S. Open that Shane won. I watched Filler beat Shane on the winner's side before Shane did what he has done a lot, come through the 1-loss side to win that tournament. But not knowing Filler, even during that match, was informed by a lot of Euros that I know pretty well that, hey, this is the next guy coming from this side of the pond. They were sure correct.
Well, it wasn't long before he was US Open champion himself. By then, he'd already won this title. And what he's also won is the second rack here. Filler getting an early advantage at 2-0. Final tomorrow.
Leading
Who are those guys then? Billy and Skylar, great mates, just like these two. and also Moscone Cup comrades.
Oh, that's a scary break right there. If he can get that one going, the one was tracking nicely. It ended up nice anyways, but if he could repeat that speed, he could really put a lot of racks together.
We saw Billy and Skyler there, Jeremy. Inseparable at tournaments when they're not playing. These two guys are very good friends as well. So when you were in your heyday, did you have a particular player you tended to spend most of your time with?
Yeah, I had a few of them. I traveled with Johnny for many years, roomed together.
Johnny Archer?
Yeah, Johnny Archer. I was fortunate enough to get to hang out with Nick Varner a lot, which I was always liking the older guys as far as trying to get some of that knowledge, and of course their charisma and humor was right up my alley. But yeah, there were several players back in the day that I enjoyed spending time with.
Nick Varner, who of course you played in the final of this great championship.
Yeah, we were actually rooming together that week when he beat me in the final.
Extension, please.
That was a great week. Alicante, Spain. Sweet stroke there by the lefty. May fall a little straight here. The one thing about Filler is that he does so well is he doesn't panic. So like if he gets in a funny spot here on the 8, he'll go ahead and take some distance on the 9, even though it's a thin cut. He understands he can rely on his talent in many ways. Got a lot out of that cue ball, so he should bring the cue ball back past the side. Oh, he's going inside English. So that's a comfortable player right there. When you have the choice of drawing the ball with outside or follow inside, 8 out of 10 are going to put that bottom English on the cue ball.
Well, it's early stages in the match, but the reigning champion has been put under just 2 tables left in operation at this late stage of the World Championship. Similar story on both of them. Alexander Kazakus leading 3-0 against Oliver Shalnoki. And here on the main table, Joshua Filler ahead by the same score against Albin Ouschan.
Yeah, that little cut on the 1, a firm cut break you might call it, but definitely something intentional. That's the one problem with that cut break is if you catch it a hair thin, you can fall below the rack a little bit, which percentages say you're going to get snookered off the break. Now, he does have a look. I'm not sure how much of a look, but Filler will tell us here in a moment. Yeah, it doesn't take much.
Yeah, and the fear for Ouschan must be that Filler goes on one of those streaks that are his trademark.
You know, the one impressive thing about Filler, he really doesn't vary away from himself too much. When players get in this position and they start knocking balls in, they'll actually tend to slow down a little bit, trying to, all right, I'm playing well, let's not make a mistake. He really stays in rhythm, his rhythm.
Still only 24 years of age, even though it feels like he's been around for a very long time.
Well, that's what some people don't realize. It's almost like Earl. Even though they play at a faster pace, they have so much pool knowledge from such a young age, right? That they're still playing very sound decisions, even though it's at a faster pace.
Yeah, and it didn't take him long to win that rack, did it? So Joshua Filler, back-to-back break and runs, and he now leads Albin Ouschan 4-0.
fun.
absolutely. You know, it's hard to beat talent with hard work, right? But I mean, obviously, Kazakus has a high level of talent, and nobody works any harder.
Yeah, and not just in terms of preparation, but also the effort he puts into every match. He just leaves every last drop of blood out there on the table.
Yeah, and it's, you know, a good sign when you're exhausted at the end of the day when you're competing. And a very difficult rollout. Now he has a little bit of congestion, and this is where the creativity of these players can really be shown a little bit on the rollout. Something a little foreign, something you don't see all the time. Now the cue ball almost has to be near the rail. Can't give him the bottom of the cue ball here, or else you're going to be in trouble.
Albin, it's your choice.
Now does this, it looks like this one plays off the 2 in the side with a high ball. It goes in this corner, of course, but I do believe it's an easier shot. And maybe I'm not seeing this correctly, but I know the 2's a bit away from that right middle side pocket, but with a high ball, it looks like to me with a little speed, the 1 goes right in off the 2 in the side. Yeah, that's a great, I mean, that front camera angle there really shows, you know, you can't hit it soft. You have to hit it with a little speed, of course, but surprised these players aren't recognizing this shot, and maybe Josh did.
A little extra pressure added to this shot from Ouschan's point of view. Having seen how well Filler is playing, he knows how costly a mistake here could be.
Great shot there. And one thing that you can have a talk with yourself about is you're not going to give back any rollouts against Josh Filler. And pro players rarely give them back anyways. It's got to be a very extreme situation, or maybe the score might dictate. If you're way ahead, you may not take on a real tough one if you're way ahead in the score. But if I'm Albin Ouschan, I've probably made my mind up prior to this match. If he's rolling out, I'm not passing it back.
"31 years of age, from Klagenfurt in Austria. He won his first title on the Euro Tour 10 years ago this year, so he's another player who has accumulated a huge amount of experience at a relatively early age. As long ago as 2014, he was in the final of this World Championship and ran Niels Fine pretty close.
Watch out, Nineball. Oh no. This gets past the 7, this could hurt. And he may not have a pocket at all for the pink 4. And all that is anytime you're going into a ball, right? Watch, he catches the 3 a little thick to the pocket, so he catches on top of the 9 a little more than into the side of the 9. Really dictates where the cue ball is going to end up. And is he just going simply behind the 8 here? I think so. Oh, beauty. 2 rail kick coming. About the middle of the top rail, hitting the side rail, about the 3rd diamond, then coming down at the 4. He's looking at 1 rail. 1 rail, you know, it's doable. I don't think it offers as much as a 2 rail kick here, but should be some speed.
Foul stroke, no contact, ball in hand.
Okay, so here's the chance for Ouschan to get started.
And start the clock, please.
He's been at the table already in this rack, but that was really hard going. Nothing was coming easy to him.
Yeah, the 8 doesn't pass the 9 though, so it's another reason why I'm surprised at the 1 rail kick. I thought the 2 rail kick was a little more secure hit, and with the 8 not passing the 9, not giving up ball in hand here would have been huge. Is he going into the 8 here? You would think not, but maybe. don't think that's the way he wanted to go into the 8, but it'll work.
It's quite early on, but these feel like big moments in the match, Jeremy.
Well, I totally agree. I think they're all big moments. I think what we've seen on table 2 so far from Kazakus, and again here on table 1 from Filler, that there's going to be some racks run in these quarterfinals.
Well, it's been hard work. Taken a couple of visits, punctuated by a very brief tactical exchange.
Albin Ouschan.
But in the end, Albin Ouschan is off the mark. The reigning champion closes to 4-1 down against Joshua Filler. For someone who's won it before, which both of the guys on the main table have. Ouschan, 4-1 down.
And he hasn't backed off the break at all. He got a little top spin on the cue ball there, a friendly kiss to keep it near the 1. And he's got a nice shot to start. I think that's what you heard from Albin in his interview. His break was a little inconsistent with the hit on the cue ball. You could see the cue ball was about to spin forward towards the bottom rail. After the break, though, he played an excellent match in that round of 16. Now, the thing is, he doesn't want to roll this ball, not so much as far as pocketing the ball, but cue ball's so fast, the bed's so fast. I think he tries to come 1 rail at the 9 with the cue ball here. I could be wrong, but could apply just a little inside and try and ease this in. I think he lets the stroke out a little bit here, though, Michael. Comes down between the 6-9, maybe.
If he does retain the title, one thing that will be different to last year will be that he'll have done it without losing a match. He was beaten in his 2nd match last year by Roberto Gomez. Easily came through the 1 match he needed to, though, on the loser side. And then went on a memorable run, beat Torsten Homan, Mieszko Fortunski, Skylar Woodward comfortably in the quarterfinals, David Arcady even more comprehensively in the semis. And then from 9-7 down, 6 racks in a row to see off Omar Al-Shaheen in the final.
Is he cutting this or banking it? Is he going into the 3 with the cue ball, maybe? Okay, he got around it. And you notice that was how much the cue ball arced, right? But that was a predictable arc. Something that Albin definitely knows on the slick table.
And that World Championship success was the biggest part, but by no means the only part of his wonderful 2021 story. He had already won the Championship League here in Milton Keynes. Really set him up for the year. Took the International Open in Virginia in October.
Boy, did he play some incredible pool there.
Any disappointment maybe was that he didn't have his greatest Mosconi Cup, but he still ended up on the winning side anyway. His opponent this evening, Joshua Filler, was the man to deliver the winning point.
And got a little thinner on this purple 5 than he wanted. That's why you see a little shake of the head, a little rumble of the lips, right? He's going to have to shoot the 6 from a little further distance, I think. Otherwise, he'll take a chance with the cue ball.
These two matches still running in tandem because the player who was 4-0 down has got off the mark over on table 2 as well. Oliver Shalnoki now trails Alex Kazakus 4-1. Don't think it's going to be 4-1 here much longer, though.
It looks like he probably takes the 7 up in the corner. The angle really offers that for easy position on the 9. And the corners as a whole are just a little more comfortable way to shoot the balls than the sides.
Thank you. The 7th right.
It's been an intriguing start to a
Albin
quarter-final
Ouschan
that promised so much, and Albin Ouschan has just had his first break and run. He was 4-0 down to Joshua Filler. It's now 4-2.
Yeah, and you won't see Albin backing off here at all. No cut break in mind. He's going to get snookered here, and he's going to get snookered in a way that's a very difficult rollout. So what that says is you may not see a rollout here. You may see a kick to the long rail coming across the 1, trying to bank the 1 up a little bit. And now he's sizing up the jump. And probably the jump may be the shot, and without rolling out to a jump because he might not get it back. Okay, so he's got to really get this ball down as quick as possible. Kind of feel like it should take 2 bounces before it cuts the 1 in.
Yeah,
9
well
ball.
called, and where's the 9?
There it is.
Wow.
Albin Ouschan.
That's some way to get back to only 1 behind. 3 on the bounce for Albin Ouschan. He looks a little embarrassed about it. But never mind all that. He's right back in this one now.
Yeah, fortune favors the brave, huh, Michael?
I'll give him another 100 goes at that. And good luck trying to repeat it. But you only need to do it when it matters. And just gradually, Albin Ouschan is building a bit of momentum here. Now, this is what's happening on the other table. It was 4-1 to Alex Kazakus. It looks like it's gone 5-1 now against Oliver Shalnoki. Try to confirm that for you. Seven different countries represented in this last 8. The only country to have 2 players is Austria. Max Lechner will be on later. This man is very much on now. He's still shaking his
Flank it
head
in,
over
Frank.
that extraordinary finish to the previous rack.
Albin Ouschan to break.
Time to put that out of his mind now. And a chance to draw level.
Well, we all know it's Masters Week and what an international sport that is, but still maybe no sport more international than Nineball, right?
Couldn't agree more. I mean, you look at some of the countries that you wouldn't think of as having much of a Q Sports tradition that just out of nowhere produce really good players. Albania is one obvious example with Ekland Kaci, Shalnoki, who we were talking about there, from Hungary.
Cue ball got rattled around there a bit, but still has come away with a great starter. He's just got to decide how he wants to play it. If he wants to roll it and come one rail. Kind of feel like he's going to come two rails to the center of the table to take a little cut shot on the two with the three over the pocket. Looks like a little more comfortable way to shoot this one ball than just a high ball with a little inside. I feel like he'll be successful whichever way he chooses, but I kind of personally like the two rails out of the corner, just crossing the head string a bit and getting that cut shot on the two. He could come all the way down one rail between the 4 and the 9 with a high inside ball. I just now kind of saw that route. Nothing wrong with that. He's got to hit it clean, though. He played the one rail inside lightly, and again, shows me how comfortable this man is, even in the quarterfinals of the World Pool Championship.
Can confirm it is now 5-1 to Kazakus.
Think a little bit more inside English here. Doesn't want to run into the pink or the 9. Not a big deal if he runs into the 9, but definitely doesn't want to run into the pink.
So there, the cue almost brushing along his cheek. Now, that's nothing new for Albin Ouschan, but I think it's become even a little more pronounced of late.
Well, I'm a left eye dominant player as well, and either eye that's dominant, it usually becomes more dominant as you age, right? So I know mine has moved a little bit more underneath that left eye. And it's an interesting subject. You know, some parts of the world when they teach pool, they force you underneath the middle, you know, underneath the middle of your chin, and then let the eyes learn to play like that. It's an interesting conversation. Well, we're not going to be disappointed here, are we, Michael?
Yeah, it's bubbling up so nicely, JJ. Albin Ouschan was 4-0 down, and it hasn't taken him very long to get from there all the way back to 4-all.
Well, it's in today's game, Michael, you better get it when you can, because there's a bunch more coming.
There's a big queue forming, isn't there?
Yeah.
Albin Ouschan then, all the way back to 4-all.
I think that's the timing on the break he wants. Now we'll see if there's the results he wants. He's certainly got a shot on the one. Little cluster over here on the right side of the table, but
Oliver Shalnoki wins the rack.
Still not bad. See a 3-6 combo in the future, but sits okay.
As you probably saw there, it has now gone 5-2 on the other table. Still far enough away from the target of 11 that there's plenty of time for the young man from Hungary to turn that around. Knocked out Shane Van Boning, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz from last year's World Championship before a narrow semi-final defeat to Omar Al Shaheen.
Does he get to have to contact the two here? Is that what the angle is telling us? No, he got by it. So this will be an interesting shot here. He doesn't really have a clean path to the combination, so you may see him come 2 rails right into the 3-ball. And that's what he's kind of surveying now. The good thing is, very hard to get snookered. You may not come away with his desired shot you want, but very hard to get behind the ball unless he hits it super light, which I don't anticipate that. He'd love to get to the center of the table somehow to be able to cut this 5 in, but he's still got to make a nice shot on the 3.
Extension, please.
Started off with a 9-3 win over Low Ho Sum of Hong Kong, who went on to have a very good championship with a couple of good wins after that. He was even more comfortable, Ouschan, in his second match against Poland's Daniel Maciol, 9-1 in that. His hardest match so far came against Mats Schietne of Norway. In the last 32, only 11-8 that one. He was pretty comfortable most of the way against Torsten Homan. A little bit of a late rally from the German, but Ouschan still got home easily enough at 11-5.
Yeah, these are the hardest to get the line on whenever you're close to the ball. Yeah, it's just you never get, you know, that space to really identify the aiming line, and just a lot of gut instinct right there when aiming at a ball that's just a couple inches away. And he didn't miss by much, but you can see again the tables are tightening up. Uh-oh, he's going to hate that.
That's just what happens though, isn't it, when you're coming in and out of the jaws of the pocket like that? You never have the control you want to on what the cue ball's going to do.
I'm still very surprised he tried to get much closer to the 5. You know, with his talent, I'd stay just by the 6-ball probably. And now he's going to have to show us one off this side rail. He does have a look at the 6, I believe. Maybe not.
Extension. Extension called.
30-second shot clock, but one extension of a further 30 seconds permitted in each rack.
Now this is the type of shot you can use the side rail a little bit, pocketing the ball. The overcut's the real miss. Oh, he hits center cut.
I think what we've seen so far, Jeremy, is much more enjoyable than if it was just a succession of breaking runs and pretty much perfect pool being played. There's a narrative forming, 1 or 2 balls being missed, a few mistakes being made, a fluked combination along the way. A little bit of everything so far.
Well, the player, uh-oh, big mistake maybe. Wow. So the draw stroke a couple times this game has certainly gotten away from Josh, and he's in a funny spot here on the 9 as well. A bit of nerves, Michael?
Not something we often see from Josh. But what we do see plenty of from him are great Well, I promised you a
Right, 10.
tea time treat, and these guys are certainly delivering
Joshua
so
Filler's
far.
leading
Joshua
5-4.
Filler was 4-0 up on the defending world champion Albin Ouschan. He pulled it back to 4-all, but Filler now back in front and breaking.
Yeah, and that's that full, you know, just slight cut break that I saw in rack number 2 that I thought this match could get away from Albin without him really having much to say about it, just because of how great Filler is. And you can see the spread he has here. Should be a 2-game lead shortly. Can't take anything for granted, of course, but just leaning on the talent of these guys. Easy prediction here. Should clear these, Michael.
Around about 3 years ago now, he had that unbelievable golden spell, Joshua Filler, and he won this championship and then added the US Open a few months later. Remarkable to think he didn't play in the Mosconi Cup at the end of 2018. And when he actually won that US Open, he beat Kazakus, he beat Albin Ouschan and Jason Shaw, so he defeated 3 of the 5 players from the Mosconi team he'd just missed out on his way to glory in Las Vegas in the spring of 2019. And this is one of the quickest racks we've seen yet. Filler
wins the rack.
runs out from the break and leads by 2 again at 6-4. Now, what's happening on the other table? We saw Alex Kazakus very much in control at 5-1 against Oliver Shalnoki, but different. With 17 tables, now only 2.
Leading by
It'll be
6
down to
frames.
1 tomorrow. It just gets quieter and quieter and more tense as the championship builds towards its climax tomorrow night.
Yeah, you got to love the setup here, though. It sets up for the drama, and of course these players deliver, so that's always a big plus. But see how he doesn't have as much speed on. I mean, there's speed on, but it's not going around as uncontrolled. Maybe he got a little kiss that sped it up there, but he's going to dress the one up more for a shot in the corner, I think, than his opponent. Now, that doesn't have to make a huge difference in this match, but could make a huge difference on Filler running a lot of racks, though. Tough combination here, even though they're near. It's an awfully thin hit on the 8. A little too thin to cut the 1 in the corner. It is makeable, but I think he's worried about a scratch. He was trying to see if he has a pocket for just the 1. If he does, it's awfully thin. Now he caught the 8. Cue ball behind the 3, maybe. No, he's going to give up a combo.
And the tide just starting to turn away from Ouschan again in the last couple of racks. Here's his chance to stem that. We say it so often, don't we? With a player like Filler, you don't want to let him get away from you. He can disappear out of sight very quickly. Got to stay in touch.
Oh, that was a nice stroke there, and he kept good control on the 1 and the cue ball. Kazakus back at the table on table number 2.
Whoever wins this match will be the only player left in the championship who's won it before. Did
not Chang Jung Lin win it before? No.
Chang Jun-lin was runner-up.
Runner-up, okay.
Back in 2019. Beaten by Fedor Gorst. Went close, it was 13-11.
That's right. I won't doubt you again, Michael.
Lesser men than you have done so, Jeremy.
Well, Albin getting on with it. Should cut this lead to 1 game and breaking in game number 12. Little preference on how he wants to play it here. Most would fall kind of full on this 8-ball. Try not to have too much cue ball movement from the 8 to the 9.
It's turning into a classic, isn't it? Dripping with tension. 2 players
Albin Ouschan.
who both know they've got it in them to win this World Championship this year. Only one of them can make it to the semi-finals. Albin Ouschan closes to 1 behind at 6-5.
And the list left me there for a moment, even though I did know who it was. But Beato, that's right. The most recent U.S. Open winner. That's what it was. That was actually the first one I noticed. Oh, watch out, cue ball. Oh, nice kiss there. An awful kiss it looked like at first, but then another kiss that saved the cue ball from the upper left-hand corner.
Well, we heard the song earlier. Joshua Filler was bopping along to it. 1 kiss is all it takes. And it was certainly true there.
It's some of the biggest tension in the game, watching that cue ball get banged around on the break.
Just feel so powerless, don't you?
Yeah.
Especially the speed the balls travel around on these tables.
And right there, you know, it kind of saved him, right? But that's the rare occasion, it seems like. Maybe you don't remember those as much. All right, here he's going for the jump. He can't roll out, really. Watch out for an object ball off the table here. Oh, he hit it sweet. I know the 1 didn't end up how he wanted, but I mean, all things considered, pretty fine shot. Now this is a rare occasion, and this is again maybe facing a guy like Filler. Look at the 2 ball near the side. You see how big it would to kiss the
Extension
1 ball
call.
off the 2 on the side, just a bank shot straight at that ball. I know it sounds crazy, but the safety is very difficult here unless you're really just trying to move the 1 in position, and then you're facing a gunslinger behind you that can make anything from anywhere. So I know it sounds crazy, but this may be a time I go for something a little different.
Just quickly, I promised you an update on Kazakus and Shalnoki. It's 5-all now. How Shalnoki's turning that one around. 5-1 down, wasn't he?
Where's he going with this one? He's trying to edge the right side of it, maybe. Oh, he's trying to spin down the table. What a beautiful play this is. Wow. Hats off there, Albin Ouschan. Now that's a shot you really can't play at your club table. You know, the slick felt really offered that cue ball to spread with the spin off the second rail. A little more humidity in the table. That second rail doesn't act like that. Looks like he's left a little kiss shot here. Well, filler. He dropped the chalk and now has made a mess in his own corner there, but get that fixed.
Yeah, didn't get the ball in the pocket, but he did put the chalk in it.
I guess he's playing the combo here. Didn't realize the combo was available. Oh no, this could be serious problems. Okay, the cue ball held up.
He's had a bit of a result there. That could easily have gone wrong. Anxious moments as the cue ball came to rest. Slip around the back of the 5.
He had to use all the pocket too to get the 2 down. 3 rails around the 9 here.
Had a few racks like this, hasn't he, in this match, Jeremy, where nothing's come particularly straightforward. But he's in nice position now. Really appreciates the life that Poole has given him. Well over $500,000 in prize money already. World Cup glory with Austria. Huge Mosconi success. It's all apart from those 2 world titles. So from 4-0 down, he got back to 4-all. And another recovery is complete because having trailed 6. The impossible question, though, Carl, isn't it? How do you pick a winner of this one? One thing we can say with certainty, it's absolutely absorbing stuff, and it's effectively a race to 5 from here.
Yeah, and these pool players will jump the fence on you, Michael. I think Kelly kind of picked Filler to win the tournament prior to this match, but likes what she's seeing from Albin, so changing horses mid-race. Is this one ball going to agree? He's going to jump at that regardless, so I know being snookered isn't nice, but doesn't mind it so much.
Pity we couldn't change horses mid-race in the National at Aintree today.
Yeah, there was a nice one that won, I heard.
50-1, yeah, Noble Yates. Possibly related to Phil Yates, I don't know.
Yeah. And maybe he has a little sliver of the rail to get at this one. Maybe a swerve shot into the rail. It looks like he's going to raise the arm up, so looks like a jump shot. Wants to catch this one full on the top side a little bit. Doesn't want to come below the 9 with the cue ball. Should be just fine. And looking for his first lead. And speaking of their first lead, I think Oliver has taken his first lead on table 2.
He has. Oliver Shalnoki, you called him the mad genius earlier. Well, he's some sort of genius, isn't he? Because from 5-1 down against World Masters winner Alexander Kazakus, he's turned it right round and now leads 6-5. Of course, if Shalnoki gets through, he could play Shane Van Boning. As I said, he knocked out of this World Championship last year. Had a few wins over him, in fact, in 2021.
cue balls on a string here in game number 13. When Albin looks his best to me is, like a lot of the greats, of course, it seems like he's kind of making a very similar stroke every shot. And what happens with that, that means you're gaining the angles you want on the shots. You know, your tempo's nice. It's a little bit of a fooler. Obviously, they aren't the same swings, but very, very similar. It doesn't change much.
Yeah, and you can rely on it, feel confident in it in your own head if you can achieve that. But it only comes with huge amounts of practice. He's never been in front in this match.
Albin
This
Ouschan.
Flip a coin to try to pick
Break
the winner of
14,
this one.
Albin Ouschan,
Albin
break.
Ouschan leading for the first
Leading
time
7-6.
after that break and run. 13th rack. It's 7-6 in this clash of champions with Joshua Filler.
Well, beautiful strike on the one there on the break. He's going to end up with a tough shot on the one coming off the back rail with the cue ball. And if this cue ball is going into the 6 a little bit, trying to pocket the one, this could be fun to get in position on what would be next, the pink 4 over the side. So, yeah, I think this has gotten a little bit funny here. And he may be a little bit trapped unless he really wants to put some speed on this.
And you see that break and run from Ouschan in the last rack was the 7th we've had so far in the match. Ouschan just ahead on that stat and just ahead in the one below it, which really counts.
Yeah, the problem here is, of course, a tough shot on the one with the cue ball near the rail, but can he get past the 6 to get shape? No reason to go for a tough shot with no future in it. So I think at least he has to put some power into this, and along with that makes it more missable. But also maybe he overruns getting on the pink. Oh, he squeezed it home somehow. It wasn't the most clean strike to the pocket, but it did go.
Yeah.
He's acting like the 6 has gotten tied up. Now the 6 does go on the opposite side, though. That's a good look. It looks like it's aimed a little bit high. Now the other possibility is the 5 is near. So it shouldn't be too difficult to get an angle to bust open the 6-9 if needed.
Alex Kazakus at the table. 7-5 down now against Oliver Shalnoki.
Yeah, and it was a couple misses that really kind of got Oliver going in that match. So Alex is going to have to leave that behind. Now, this is a funny shot that Albin's gotten on here. Is he going 2 rails underneath? Is he going into the 6? He's going 2 rails underneath, so speed is crucial. And speed looks pretty decent, a little short of his mark. Looks like if he plays this offensively, Michael, he's going to have to draw the cue ball off the 9. So this is going to have some speed going into a very narrow middle side pocket.
It's going to be a very timely rack win for Kazakus on the other table. This one was really slipping away from him. So just one behind.
Kazakus wins the rack.
7-6 on both tables.
Is this going to end up on top of the 7? What a shot by Albin. Made that look easy. Looking to see if he can get to the side rail, I guess, and kill the cue ball 2 rails. And caught a lot more of that point than he expected. So ends up a little thinner on the 9. And I think about the Moscone Cup on a situation like this, and I'll explain it in a moment.
Albin Ouschan lost the first 4 racks of this
Albin
match.
Ouschan wins the rack.
He's really turned it round now. In fact, he's just won the last 4, 8-6. The 2 true standout tests
Thank you,
for the greatest players in the sport.
Albin Ouschan is leading.
Even when it
8-6
left Cardiff and it was still in Matchroom's hands, it went on to Taiwan, Chinese Taipei there for a few years, and then on to the Philippines where it grew, you know, huge crowds, right? Taipei was something else. Another kiss on the cue ball, and you know, I think Albin is just maybe exerting a little too much energy with these kisses on the cue ball. It's just going to happen. You just have to realize it. Sometimes it works out for you, sometimes not so much.
He's got to stop these little shows of frustration, though, because he said this himself in the past. It doesn't help him. We've noticed the cheeks being puffed out and stroking his face and closing his eyes, and nothing over the top or anything that's out of order, but just from his own point of view, forget about it. You're doing well in the match, leading 8-6. Don't be bemoaning every little bit of bad luck and not getting the rolls that you want. When he achieves that serenity he's capable of, that's when he produces his best, and that's by his own admission.
Yeah, and I don't know for sure, of course, didn't grow up with Albin, but being what I think the introvert he is, I think that's just something kind of, I was that way myself growing up, kind of always made faces in sports and wore my emotions on my sleeve a little bit, but of course it doesn't help. Here's a kick and stick. You want to kick behind this with a high ball. I'm surprised he rolled out here, to be honest with you. This is a pretty routine shot. He should be snookered after this. Oh, he didn't hit it good at all. That was a pretty easy kick and stick right there with a high ball. He overhit it first off, got way behind it also.
The tide has turned in every sense. Filler was looking really sharp. Consecutive break and runs took him to 4-0. Ouschan has a different way of doing it. Doesn't happen quite as quickly. It's a bit more measured. Generally involves a bit more thinking things out. But his methods have worked very well over the last couple of years and have helped him get into a commanding position, which he could perhaps strengthen even further here.
Yeah, and I think maybe Albin got away with a big mental mistake on that rollout, followed up with a physical mistake by Josh, and maybe tied up on table 2, I think.
Yeah, it's gone 7-all there now. What a match that's been as well. You can watch all the table 2 action throughout the championship on Matchroom Pool's YouTube channels.
Oh yeah, it's been 6 out of 8 for Albin, I believe, something like that, or 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
rather.
in terms of racks won.
Yeah, 8 out of 10. Yeah, that's right. Math is usually a strong subject, believe it or not, Michael.
You know, it's Grand National Day. We seem to keep making all these betting references, but when it was 4-0, you would have got long odds against Ouschan winning 8-2 over the next 10 racks.
Yeah, the one good thing for Phil, or it seems like the entire tournament, even though it hasn't been, but it seems like he's been in this situation quite a few times.
Well, the last couple of rounds, 11-9 and 11-10. And if he is to get through, it's going to have to be by a similar score. Joshua Filler, when he won the World Championship and the US Open within a few months of each other, has been tipped to go on and dominate at the highest level. He's so young, achieving so much, looks so full of ambition and enthusiasm. And let's be fair, he's done pretty well since then, but he hasn't won one of those big standout events, either of the big two, since then. And he really wants to reassert himself. But his dream of doing it this year is hanging by a thread.
Yeah, and it's because he's facing a guy that's kind of had that dominance himself in the last year and a half. And, you know, the pool world had to remind Josh when he hit the scene and did so well how tough it really is.
Yeah, when I say he was being tipped to dominate by some people, Josh himself was chief among those. And some people thought he was a bit brash, a bit full of himself. I have to say, I really like his attitude and his demeanor, and he has settled it down a bit, toned it down a bit in recent years. But he needs to start picking it up in this match, because he's now 3 behind at 9-6.
He's got to love this. I know it's going to get a little thin, but you got to like it when you get a clear shot, no matter if it's tough or not. Amazing how often the rack repeats itself, even at the speed they're shooting. They're breaking the balls. Get a little funny here on the 2-ball. Nothing he can't work with, and the good thing is the 4 is near the 3, so he can handle shooting the 2 and taking a little distance on the 3, knowing the 4 is so easy. So maybe he just draws to the end rail a little bit here, maybe gets back up by the head string, maybe even not that far. I don't like a high ball so much here. I like cueing downward. Yeah.
Shalnoki took that 15th rack. 8-7 he leads Kazakus. And we're going to see how he did it. Nice combination to finish. That's turning into a real classic as well.
Yeah, you saw it in the entire field from day one. All players fighting hard, right, for this title, and of course these 8 players left fighting even more so. in these quarterfinals. It's just the difference in today's game versus years ago. And I think champions years ago would have been champions today. That's just my opinion in sports, but just the effort on and off the table by the vast number of players these days. You can see the training, you can see the dedication.
And the lifestyle choices they make, the way they eat, staying away from the drink, lots of fitness work. That's all apart from the huge preparation that goes in on the practice table. All the psychology they look into now.
And there's a variety of it also, Michael, just because everyone's not the same. So
for a long time, it looked as though we were going to have a really close finish in this match. We may yet. But at the moment, Albin Ouschan is threatening to win it comfortably. He's first to the hill at 10-6. Every one of Josh's matches, even at some of the behind closed doors events that we've had over the last couple of years during COVID, she's often made up the entire crowd herself.
Yeah, it kind of seems unfair to the rest of the players, but I don't blame her.
Ouschan on the hill.
His last break off, so he wants to not lose the cue ball, of course. And another jump shot, maybe. No, this may have cleared away. The pink may have gotten out of the way. And it's happened so much. Again, he's just got to disregard those kisses on the cue ball. He's in a great spot this match, but he's going to continue on if he gets out here. And he's got to stay positive. Things are going to happen, but just got to wait and see what the outcome is. Oh, this sets up beautifully. The one ball gets you to the two with a little draw. The three's over the side. And it's, I know, not much of a prediction, but I think we're going to lose our second filler here in the 2022 World Pool Championships.
Well, if Albin Ouschan finishes it out here, he is going to be absolutely beside himself with joy. Got to remember, he was 4-0 down in this match. And not just against any opponent, against someone he's got so much respect and regard for.
He's gotten a little elevated here now. I think he wants to just roll this ball in.
Extension called.
Not so sure he has much angle either, Michael. So he may get a little flat on the 4 to where he has to shoot the 5 from a little distance as well. Yeah, he looks a little straight here. And no time to try and cheat this, right? Go ahead and take your distance on the 5. That's the winning shot to get you into the semifinals. So he may elevate the cue here, but I don't expect him to really try and work the ball much. Maybe 6 or 8 inches. I put a little more into it than I thought.
Throughout this great run that he's had over the last couple of years, he's been so good at closing out matches. When the winning line is there, just seems to find that something extra special to get him across it. Summoning up one last big mental effort.
A little light on the speed there, so he's going to get a little flatter than expected. Still okay, though. See a little shake of the head. Probably wanted a hair more angle, but the key to this shot on the slick table is don't overhit it. Let the bed of the table take you forward and around on the 7. Oh, he put a lot into it. He hooked the ball around instead of spinning it.
So if he can pop these last 2 balls, it will mean that since he was 4-0 down, Ouschan will have won 11-2. And that is against Joshua Filler. You could never have seen that coming. Great champions, when they win the great titles, cling to them with everything they've got. And Albin Ouschan